Hello family and welcome back. So do you want to add some uniqueness to your dresses? Perfect. In this tutorial you'll learn how to make two adorable sleeves, a bow sleeve and a wrap sleeve. We'll walk you through each step from creation to attachment. Kindly stick with us to the very end because I know you don't want to miss any details. So guys, with me are two flare dresses even though I'm only showing bodice parts and the sleeves are yet to be attached. Join me as we create the two sleeves which will be later attached to the armholes of these dresses. We'll be using a basic short sleeve pattern for our base, but with a little twist. This pattern paper, as you can see, is on fold in half, and we'll use it to create the bow sleeve. See how I'm folding it back again? That's to prepare us for drafting process. First thing first, grab your tape measure and measure 4.5 inches down from the top edge. After that, go ahead and measure further 1.5 inches at the top edge this time, but strictly from the center line. Having marked, smooth down the curve from the second mark slowly towards the first mark as shown. I'll take a quick look to make sure the curve is perfect before moving in with a marker pen, which I'll now use to make it more visible. Thereafter, I'm going to cut out along the drawn outline. Now that we've finished cutting out our pattern piece, it's time to transfer it onto the main fabric. Pay close attention to this step as it will ensure your sleeves are perfectly replicated. We've got two beautiful pieces of fabric here, and guess what? The sky blue one is the one for the bow sleeve since it requires less material. Let's see the tracing technique in action. Alright, fold your fabric in half ensuring that two folds are aligned. After achieving an alignment, secure it with pins all round as can be seen. With that completed, cut out along bottom edge leaving about 0.5 inches seam allowance. And before we proceed, I forgot to mention that top parts will be stitched closely, so that leads me to addition of 1.5 inches added to the side just so we don't end up with any shortage. From there, continue cutting out following edges closely. You notice how I'm not leaving any stitching allowance along the curved edge, and the reason is it has been taken care of. Just like that, our cutting is complete. Next up is the sewing machine, where we'll be demonstrating exactly how to construct this adorable sleeve before we integrate it into the dress armhole. Let's get hands on and go straight into drafting of the second sleeve from this basic short sleeve pattern. The first step is marking 4 inches at the top edge from the center line, from where we'll be required to draw our first line radiating towards the side edge. Let's see how that transforms things, and by now you all know I always like to start sketching with a pencil. This allows me to refine the details before going in with visible lines. For the second curve, fold your sleeve. This will create a mirrored line on the other side, hence the consistent look we are aiming for. Not sure if you are able to see the mirrored line, but I'll just go ahead and make it more visible to your eye by tracing like that. All this time, I know you've been wondering how we're gonna extract the second wrap from the first drawn wrap. I'll reveal how that is done in a moment. All you need to do is stay focused and grab this technique I'm about to use. With the help of a tracing wheel or any blunt object, be creative enough to find something you can use. Trace out the second asymmetric curve. That doesn't stop there, since you also need to trace out the side and top edges as shown. And with that completed, just go ahead and remove tapes just so you can make the asymmetric curve visible. Once that is done, cut a long outline. Now you know how to extract the second wrap from the main pattern. What's left is extracting the first wrap as well from it. After I was done cutting, I realized the wrap was not wrapping, so I had to slash out the bottom edge a little bit until I was totally happy with the design I wanted. You see these pleats? Yes, that's what we are going to next. Be sure to follow along as I show you how to slash and spread. After squaring out 2 to 3 lines just as I've done, slash through them as shown, and I'm sure you've noticed I'm not slashing them all through. From there, I'll bring forth another piece of paper in order to start the spreading process. With the first panel taped on the paper, measure about 1 inch and tape down the second panel. The same consideration should apply to the rest of the panels as well. Next up, cut out following the edges if you understand what I mean. Guys, in front of you are the sleeve pieces after tracing out from the drafted pattern papers. Stay tuned since we are about to head over to the sewing machine just so we can pleat the two front wraps. And please, if you are enjoying this tutorial, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any video. I have made the pleats and pinned off camera, so now let's stop stitch to ensure they are intact as required. On top of that, double hem on the bottom edge with neat and straight stitches from one end to the other as shown. You can as well overlock first then single hem, that's also allowed. After you are done with all that, overlay them as can be seen, but it's the pleated piece that has to be on top. Further on top, stitch the second time with about 0.25 inches. I'm currently measuring round bottom of my sleeve from the fall so as to stitch as I'm showing you. These are the wrap sleeves after I was done doing the thing. From here what's left is just to attach them to armholes of the dress. Let's dive into the first method of attaching sleeves to armholes. We'll cover the simpler technique later on, but for now let's start by laying seams flat around the armholes opening. Once everything is aligned, we'll stitch all the way around using the seam allowance of 1/2 inch. Do you love what you see? Personally, I do. And of course, I didn't mention earlier that we're not done making the bow sleeve. I have this loop piece that is ironed and turned right side out after stitching. But first, let's give all raw edges finish and professional looks by double hemming all round. After that, fold once the loop piece like that and cut. Not so much though, cut about 2 inches. Then stitch just as I'm showing you. Alright, let's turn it right side out having stitched, and that's it. I'll quickly single hem the raw edge too. Take note that you can only single hem when the fabric you're working with can't wear out at the edges. With that completed, try and force the sleeve piece in through the loop. Take your time and be patient during this process. This wasn't easy as I thought, but at last I managed. This leads us to the simpler technique for attaching sleeves to armholes. Difference this time is that the dress side edge is left open a little bit. Now go ahead and align sleeve centerline to the dress shoulder joint and stitch the first section using seam allowance of 1/2 inch. Also me repeating the same on the opposite side. Once you're done, stitch from the round bottom edge of the sleeve crossing over to the dress opening the tutor. Basically that's all. This is the easiest way to integrate sleeve into the dress armholes, and hope you've learned something new today. Leave a comment below and I'll be happy to help in case you get stuck at any point. Let's meet in our next tutorial. Bye.